say resume recording. Okay, great. This is 20 November 2018, and this is the Bitcoin webinar, the Friday webinar, 3 p.m. of 23 November 2018. Yeah, thank you for everybody that is online, and we'll probably have a little bit more discussion in this webinar. But let's just quickly have a look and see what is happening with Bitcoin at the moment. And I'm not going to go through the entire document because we produced that document on 20 November, and I don't think much has changed. However, I do believe the elite is losing substantial control. And it comes into your comment also, TG, that you said, we hope that things go better. But I tell you what, it is going to get better, and very, very rapidly. I do believe that. Very important that we just read that first segment in the report there. TG, can you see my screen? Can you see where it says crypto market cap is 100 billion? I just want to make sure. Can you see that, Shamsa? Just lift your thumb up. Okay, awesome. So the first thing that we need to realize is that the crypto. Yeah, go ahead, TG.
I've got no video. I can't do any video, I believe. So let me check.
Oh,
no,
bugger. We can't see your king's face anymore.
That's all right. Leave it off. I don't mind. So, anyway,
let me just
crack on, Marius.
I'm just going to stop the annotation as well. Please, guys, just don't do any annotations on the screen as well. Okay. Anyway, there we go. So the crypto market cap is about 100 billion, while the total world money supply exceeds 80, as a matter of fact, about $87 trillion. These are just more or less figures. You can't really say it is exactly that on the day. Changes rapidly at the moment. And think about this, $1 trillion has been wiped from the world stock markets in the last probably about a month. So one of the big things that we just need to realize here is that the elite is definitely losing control. And let me just go down to this report. We'll probably just go first down, I think, to the world stock markets. Okay, there could be a lag on the report, on the image that you get in your screen, so I'll try and talk a little bit slower. We are still in that downtrend. As a matter of fact, I think the elite is now, with the world stock markets, is approximately about there, where we saw yesterday a bit of a drop in the world stock markets, and we probably today going to see that going further down. On Monday, we could have an uptrend, but then it's going to go all the way down. So we expect next week Bitcoin to go upwards a little bit, and come by the end of the month, Bitcoin will still break out upwards, where the world stock markets will go down. If I say the world stock markets, I'm talking about the Dow Jones Industrial Average. This is according to what we see in our algorithm. And then we see here by the end of the month, here at around about the 30th, it could be a week delayed, because we notice there's a bit of delay of time expansion coming out with things that are being pushed along to prop the world stock markets up as long as they can. And eventually, I believe that is not going to work. So we still look for that potential upwards movement of Bitcoin, whether it's going to be at a low of 4.5 moving up or 5 moving up. The point is we need to see that break where Bitcoin starts moving upwards and the world stock markets moving downwards. Not necessarily bound to time, guys, but we just want to see that divergence. That is what I'm looking for. And remember, basically early in the year, we said that we're going to get down to November this year. I didn't believe that it's going to be this low, but we believe that we're going to be at maybe around about $40,000 where this could happen, where the world stock markets are going to collapse in November, and then Bitcoin goes back upwards. But we just find ourselves at a very low level. But the good thing about this low level is that it's low, it's a good time to buy, we believe that, and we could go upwards and swing that upwards momentum. So we still believe there's going to be a 20% drop. That drop, as a matter of fact, is our first leg of 2 legs, and we believe the world stock markets could drop approximately about 38 to 40%. So that drop is still going to happen, while Bitcoin then in December and in January go upwards. We need to be concerned about this 16, 17, 18 December drop. There looks like there's going to be a plummet, kind of like a capitulation event, the same that we saw in Bitcoin, could potentially happen in the Dow Jones as well, and it could then potentially bring down cryptocurrencies as well with it. So we may see an uptrend going up into December, go up, and then somewhere in December have a bit of a drop before Bitcoin then moves upwards again. And let's just get into, okay, the exit points were, we sold here at 5596, we sold at 5443, and we sold anything below 5,000 is where we sold. Now, I just want to make it clear, guys, that if anybody has not sold, it doesn't matter. And the reason is this: we are not on the 20,000 high point of 16 December 2017. If we were on that high point, I would have recommended and said, listen, get out of the market as quick as you can, like we did on 5 December 2017. Because this is the low end of the market, you simply, if you haven't sold, just ride out the wave. For goodness sake, don't go and sell your Bitcoins now, because the market is going to turn around, and we believe here by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, American time, where the market is going to turn around and then go upwards. We do believe there's a little bit more downtrend to perhaps 3880, where the market is going to break that 4,000 support, flash crash downwards, and then come back up. It's now forming a very bullish falling wedge, and we can go into that quickly. And I'll do this as quick as possible, then we can have a great discussion. So again, if you look at the overall market, this is the one in Bitfinex. The market is dropping down. We're right down there at the bottom. We still see that uptrend into $7,000 going forward. We don't see the market actually going further down than 3880, but gosh, we have to take into account that there is a potential for that to happen, and we'll go into that and have a discussion about that as well. So let's just get down here. Now, for those people who have not seen the Wall Street cheat sheet, I think many of us here are very mature investors. That's why you're on this webinar. You understand how the Wall Street cheat sheet looks. If you haven't seen that yet, you really need to look at that. We actually use this also as part of our algorithm in some modular form. We've actually got a more advanced chart that indicates literally the day trading on this chart. And we've actually made it ourselves, where we have taken 24 stocks in the Dow Jones, pulled them to pieces basically, and created our own Wall Street cheat sheet, more or less how the market goes. And if you look at averages, averages normally plays out. But I'm going to show you something where the average is not playing out. Since the beginning of the year, Bitcoin went up here. We went into hope. It went into optimism. Then here in December last year, 2017, it went into belief, and people had a thrill and euphoria. And then the market dropped at 20,000, right down there to about 11,000, and then went up to complacency, where people said, I think this market is going to break out, it's going to go to 100,000. And if you can remember, people were talking about they're going to buy 3 Lamborghinis. And even at orders at Lamborghinis, I think the orders at the Lamborghini House International, 1,817 orders. And it got cancelled directly after that. So that's complacency, where people just said, listen, I'm going to hold. And people that were now, that held 100,000, their money right down to the bottom is probably worth about $2,000, $3,000 or $4,000. But we had that big plummet there. It got up, panic. People got angry here on the bottom. And the anger is really what you could see about a month ago, 2 months ago, when people started posting angry tweets all over Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, you name it, it is there. Now, those people that were full of anger, they've gone into a depression, and you don't really find them on Twitter or social media anymore. They're gone, okay? And the people that are left over are the same people that have still got hope. They are patient, they're quality investors that have got their minds intact and invest objectively. You cannot play with emotions when you trade, because you will lose. You will lose badly. I remember when I grew up in the orphanage, I always told myself that I will not be emotional. From a little age, I don't understand how I just had that instinct. It's like a little cat, the cat just knows he has to go and pee outside or pee in a little box. And I was kind of like the cat. I just knew that I can't be emotional. I must be objective. And although at that stage, when I never even understood the word objective, I just really realized at that point that I must keep my mind intact. I must go forward with a strong mentality. And most of us here, this is why we created this webinar group, most of us are mentally stable. We don't fear. We don't trade with emotions. We put emotions aside and we trade objective. Now, when you look at depression here, most of those anger and emotional people are now getting out of the market. They have sold. And Wall Street and the institutional investors and people like you and me, we've bought up all those Bitcoins and we keep them. I'm not selling all my stash, and I'll go into that shortly now. So from there onwards, after depression, and this is kind of where we are now. This is actually where we should be, exactly where you see my mouse there. And that should be on a level of approximately $9,000, perhaps $10,000. And when we get up there, that should be above about $12,000, about 11,684. 11,684 is that level, which we should have actually achieved closer to these points here. But the market went down and the Bitcoin market should have gone up. And if you look now at, unfortunately, it's just a little bit too big to have on the screen here, but have a look at how the market actually diverged from about that point there, which is basically like a year around about in September, where the market simply went flat and then started dropping. So you can see here that all these lines, the hope, optimism, thrill, euphoria, complacency, went exactly as per the Wall Street cheat sheet. Come here right at the end, the market started dropping. Now there's a thing with patterns. Patterns must play out. This is why we believe that the market is going to turn around here, go back upwards in some form. How that's going to play out is not something that we 100% know, but we are going to give you our analysis of what we see in the market and how we see the algorithm play that out. Now we'll get back to this, but that's a great visual where you can see that is definite, deliberate manipulation. You can say whatever you want, that market should turn around, maybe not go that far deep, but should have gone up. And once we get up to this level here, you can expect that that is going to start playing out next year. Not exactly like that. There's going to be a different play coming in here. There are going to be 3 major crash points which will drop Bitcoin approximately 68% again. But those crash points, we know more or less where they are. Okay, so let's have a look at the world money supply. This is actually an old chart, so it's not 100% correct, but we look at Bitcoin approximately 40 billion, but it's just for visual purposes. So you look at Bitcoin, that's the size of Bitcoin. This is the size of the world market supply, the money supply. And I just want to show you this, that the money in Wall Street, it's going to leave the Dow Jones. It's not going to go into property. It's not going to go into any other asset, but it's going to go into gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies. And as the world stock markets drop further, you're going to see that people are going to pull that money out. What is happening in the world stock markets, or the Dow Jones at the moment, guys, is that the American government, and if I say this, please just understand me correctly, it's not a bad influence on the American people. I myself I'm married to an American. I love the American people, but I don't like the American government. Oh, my wife says, oh, thank you. And I and I don't like the American government. And there's reasons behind that, and we don't need to go into that now. But the American government is the biggest money laundering government ever in the world. They can't be jailed. They constantly, and we find this evidence, they constantly launder money to Switzerland. The Switzerland government takes the money and they prop up the world stock markets with that money. Now, JP Morgan and these big banks, and I can mention JP Morgan, because they can't sue me because it's evidence. There's objective facts that they have had 7 fines over the last 11 years. The last fine, I can't remember the exact money, but was about $54 to $56 million fined for money laundering. Have they paid that fine? I don't think so, because there's no evidence they paid it. They're part of the cabal that keep laundering money all over the world. But if you and I launder $10,000, bang, we'll go to jail and they throw the key away. That's why I say the elite and those people are not our buddies. They're not our friends. So they go to the Switzerland government, and the Switzerland government uses approximately 200 companies. And we've investigated this thoroughly. Some of the companies are based in New Zealand. So these companies, they put money in those companies, and then they would buy the FANG stocks or any other stock, because when the market drops, and let's say Facebook drops, and you probably come in with $1 billion and you buy Facebook stocks suddenly in a day or 2 or 3, and you spend that money. Now there's an argument that, whoa, somebody's buying these stocks, something is happening, the sentiment changes, and a whole bunch of people get back in the market and they buy. But they don't realize it's not the public that's buying this. It's propped up illusionists that are literally crooks that are buying the world stock markets to give the illusion that the world stock market is good. And I tell you what, guys, in the last week, they have tried it with billions of dollars, and the market is still falling. Their money printing, money laundering is not working anymore. And we saw that in our algorithm way back in the beginning of the year. If you go back to our reports, we said there's going to be an event by the end of the year in November that's going to drop the world stock markets completely. Now, we did not think that we are going to be at $4,000 Bitcoin, or 4.5 where it is now. We thought we're going to be at about 40 or 50, and then the world stock markets are going to drop. But the reason we are not there is pure manipulation. Because think about this now. If the world stock markets drop, the elite are going to get in disarray if Bitcoin goes up. Because then people, the normal man in the street, is going to say, but the world stock markets, the Dow Jones is dropping. I need to take my money out of there and put that in gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And then that will push Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies up to enormous levels, and we will have hyperinflation. That means that Bitcoin could potentially shoot up to $1 million very, very quickly. I was on the call this week with a guy, well, I don't want to mention his name now, but he's going to run for president as well. And we talked about hyperinflation and what is happening behind the scenes. And I tell you what, it's incredible that we haven't had hyperinflation yet. That means that Bitcoin can go to $1 million like really quickly within 2 or 3 months and just shoot up diagonally up. But then everything else in the world will just become so expensive. A car will be double the price. Food will be triple the price. So also don't get caught up in the fact that Bitcoin will be $1 million. By the time Bitcoin eventually is $1 million, we're going to have so much hyperinflation that Bitcoin could potentially be worth, although it's $1 million worth of Bitcoin, it could potentially only buy you about 2 or 3 or 400,000 in today's value. But still, it will be a substantial increase. So these are the things that the elite are fighting about. The major thing is Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. It's like a thorn in their side. If Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies were not there as of today, okay, they would have dropped the world market long ago, snatched all the money up from the middle class, because then there's only one asset where you really can invest. You can't invest in silver and gold because they will manipulate that and keep the price low. And there's nothing else where the blue-collar worker, you and me, can invest in, then make money. So they would drop the world markets low. It's so low, now we start getting back into it. We've lost all money. Now we go again because we're humans. We're superhumans. We always look at the bright side. We always want to make money. We always want to make things better. So now you and I, the blue-collar workers, start investing in the Dow Jones again. Now it goes up and up and up and up again. And over the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years, they do exactly the same. They repeat the process. 7 years up, they drop the market low. They take all their money. This is how they work. But now with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, they can't do it. They are attempting to get people out of cryptos, but people are buying more. This is what's happening now. We are buying more. I mean, our investors all over the world are buying more. There's a lot of money that is not in the world stock markets that are just lying in accounts and that people have in either diamonds, gold, silver. The Middle East is rich, you know, so they've got it in oil and a whole bunch of other assets, pulling that out, dumping it into Bitcoin. Now, I want to give you the confidence that, and I say to you that we are not selling our entire portfolios. If you look at all the money that we manage, and remember, I'm only a little fish, all the money that we manage, we probably sold about 5% of all the money we managed. 95% is still on Bitfee wallets, various Bitfee wallets, stored away. And the Middle East, the guys that are smart, don't misjudge the Middle East. Although many of them are top quality Muslims, they don't want to make war in the world. These are good people. I work with them. They're honest people. They are smart. They're very smart investors. They are hodling and buying Bitcoin, Digibyte, Litecoin as much as they can lay their hands on. Because these guys are forward thinkers. They know in a short period of time, 5 years is not a long time, 3 years is not long, a year is not long. In a short period of time, these things are going to go to extreme high levels. It must go higher. Cryptos, I tell you now, will never ever disappear because there are people that will always get into cryptos. It cannot disappear. Even if you shut the internet down, it cannot disappear. Look at that company now in New Zealand who came out now and said that even if you lock down the entire internet and close it down, you can still trade cryptos and Bitcoin. They've got a way of doing it. So if that ever happens, we will still be able to buy and sell and trade with cryptocurrencies. So I'm not concerned at all about anything dropping down. As a matter of fact, if you look at, if you go to the YouTube video on our YouTube channel, the one of 16 September, we showed you there the Apple algorithm. What's happening in Bitcoin at the moment is nothing different than the Apple algorithm, where the market has capitulated downwards a little bit further than what we thought, and it's going to come back. And on your screen now, you should be able to see that chart. And I'm quickly going to show you what we think could potentially happen here. Okay, so there we are now with that chart. Let me just move that out of the way. We believe that, and it's not something that we drew in afterwards. You know, we had this ABCD drawn in, 3 or 4 days ago, and we said that there's a potential that the market can go down to 3880, 3850. We believe that we could potentially come down to this last leg over this weekend before the market then simply shoots upward. So it went down, up, down to there, up there, and we believe that this one could potentially be there before the market shoots up. Now, we don't believe the market is just simply going to turn around and shoot upwards, straight up. We don't believe that can happen, although that is a possibility. But we are still going to go towards our $7,000 level. I see some people are now calling for a $10,000 mark by the end of December. The end of December is very, very close. To get to $10,000, I don't believe that is really going to happen, because to get to $10,000 now, let's just quickly show you, that is about there. So the market must literally do that. So you can see it just looks from a market that is being manipulated a little bit far-fetched. I would probably say that we look at about 6, maybe 7 here by the end of December. As time has moved on, we've lost a lot of time with manipulation, and then at that point maybe have a drawback and perhaps then go up into December. But there's one thing about patterns. Patterns always catch up with time and price. So at one point we could see a surge in price, but we don't see the market heading a lot more further downwards. I think the 3880 is probably in for the time being. So let's throw it open for questions and any comments that anybody has. Give us your feedback. So remember, guys, this is not just about me. There are, and I found over this last week, I spoke to a lot of you guys that are on the webinar. Yes, man, there are guys here that are so smart, so well educated. It really astonished me. And we can learn a lot from you guys.
Thanks, Marius. That's a really good introduction. Sorry about my beginning bit, but yeah, no, really cool. Sorry to butt in. I really do apologise, everyone. I'm following a couple of people, and there's a. I know this sounds bad, but there is a possibility we may go down to 2,500. Whether that really happens or not, or whether that might happen on the next bounce. Do you see that at all, Marius? I know you just said you can't see us going down to 3.8 now, but can you see a possible pump and dump before we really recycle?
Yes, absolutely. And this is one of the things that we must take into account. It's always good to be positive, but look, the market has gone so far down and it can easily capitulate a little bit lower. Although we don't see it, let's have a look at the objective facts here. Okay, let's have a look at this support line. We've literally broken, TG, and you'll understand that we've broken that support. That support is there. We then came down, and you can see where Bitcoin now is consolidating. It's consolidating at this support line, which is really, really good. Okay, so there you can see that level is about 4,119. We believe from the data that we look at is that we are going to break the $4,000 level as that support line and go to 3,880 to 3,850. It's going to go down and then come back upwards. But it will be very stupid of me to say very clearly here in uncertain terms that we are not going to go down and we're only going to go up. Because we've seen now that these people that manipulate the market can do whatever they want. Unless, and I'm going to say this again, guys, and I don't want to sound woo-woo or spiritual, but I tell you this now and I get goosebumps if I say this. Unless we have divine intervention, we will not go up to new all-time highs. This market, from what I see, is designed to go down. Okay, you can look at it at any level that you want. Yep. Although I don't see that, you know, you still have to remember that manipulation is a lot stronger, I think, than what we tend to believe. Now think about this, we broke through these levels, every single level that we had, we literally broke through that. The next support level, TG, is basically there, which is $3,000. Now, if we break through that level exactly like we broke through the 4.8 or the 4.7 level, you see it cut like a knife through butter there, like that level never even existed. In normal terms, in any stock in the world, it will stop and reverse or consolidate before it drops further. If we go down to 3,880 and that level does not hold, be sure that TG is correct that we could go down to $3,000. And if we drop below $3,000, there's a big possibility that the market can come down to $2,200 before it then goes up. Okay, so that is a possibility that we as very smart investors need to keep in the back of our mind. And this is why I say at this level here, when the market starts turning around here, I'm only going to spend 10% of my cash before I get into the market. Don't spend money just to get into the market. So we are here, and I'll give you the indication what we see here again. We see a bullish wedge being formed here on the bottom. The bullish wedge always comes right at the bottom of the market, and the market starts turning around. And I can show you a few examples of that. If we go through the charts here, I think it was somewhere around here. Anyway, I can't find it now, but there are several bullish wedges where the market actually turned around, and We believe that we're going to get down to the bottom 3880 and drop upwards or go back upwards. But I tell you what, if that 3880, 3850 level doesn't hold, then be prepared for a lot of downside. And I've even said that on another webinar that we had actually earlier, just for some other people that asked me just to get on a webinar. And I hate to say this, but if we break the $2,000 level, be prepared for $100 Bitcoin.
Cool. That's a bit scary, that one. Thank you, Marius, for clearing that up. But at least that puts us all in the picture, really, you know. But fantastic buying opportunities, isn't it?
Marius? Marius?
Sure.
Hello? Marius, can you hear me?
Yes, Shamsa, please go ahead.
Okay, so we know that the institutional investors are buying hand over fist via OTC, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that they know that cryptos and Bitcoin, everything, they've got to get into them. And the way I see it, I think they're trying to shake out all the little people as usual and destroy us. So what's their objective in pushing it down? Just get it as cheap as they possibly can so they can pile into it?
Yeah, absolutely. They want to get it as low as possible.
What will release it?
Look, the big problem here is not necessarily that they want to get Bitcoin as cheap as possible. Okay, I'm going to give you, and we spoke about it last week. When I work in the oil and gas industry and there's a fatality, we want to have a look at the top event. We're not interested in lagging factors that are a fact after the top event happened. If somebody dies in the oil and gas industry, we say the top event is this. And then we can work out our cause, our consequence, and we can put barriers in between. What is the top event that is causing Bitcoin to drop? It's not the Bitcoin Cash fork. Like I said last week, and everybody jumped on it and said, yeah, the drop is Bitcoin Cash fork. It's not that. It's not the fact that the elite want to buy it really at a cheaper price. Because whether the elite buys it at 5,000 or 6,000 or 7,000 is immaterial. Because if it's going to go to 50,000, who cares then where you buy it? They don't care about it. The big factor here, and let me see if I can just bring this up here. I may have it up here, is the world stock markets. Let's just have a look at the world stock markets here. Now, I'm saying this again, you know, these guys, if the world stock markets are collapsing and they know it, I've been on some calls where I've heard them talk about this big collapse and they can't, anything they do does not work. And here it is now live, where you can see where the market went down, it went up again, and this is over a period of 3 days now. So let's have a look again at the 1 day. These guys are fearing for their death. You know, they are potentially going to lose a lot of money. The amount of money invested in derivatives, and I'm not going to get into derivatives here, but go and study that yourself. We can maybe at a later stage talk about derivatives. These guys are overextended. Look at where the market is now. It's completely dropping. Those big gaps there are a huge concern if you look on the day chart, because it simply means the bottom is falling out. Propping up the world stock markets with their little Switzerland government that they use is not working anymore. Come Monday, we could potentially see a little bit up move, but then it's going to drop further. So now the problem here is, if the world stock markets are dropping, the normal guy in the street is going to take their money out and move it into Bitcoin if Bitcoin is moving up. But now at the moment, they force Bitcoin down as much as they can to go the same way as the world stock markets go. They want it to be on parity. So if the world stock markets drop, they drop Bitcoin too. The world stock markets drop further, they drop Bitcoin further. But remember what I said here. We saw this coming along.
Bitcoin being attractive as an attractive alternative.
Yes.
They want to prevent Bitcoin being perceived as a viable alternative to their stock market.
Exactly. That is what they're doing.
I'd agree.
That is exactly the top event. Because I've got people telling me now that I'm going to leave my money in the stock market because Bitcoin is going down as well. There you go, summarized. But we saw this happening in the beginning of the year.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, I missed the beginning. I'm not sure if anyone asked this, but since we know that Bitcoin seems to follow the stock market at this point, when the market goes down, Bitcoin goes down as well. There is a correlation of some sort, and we're waiting for decoupling of Bitcoin from stock market. Now, expectations right now, as you were saying, that the market will continue falling, and we're talking 20%, which is huge. I wonder if Bitcoin has not decoupled soon enough. You could drop another $1,000 here easily if it follows stock market.
That is a possibility, yes.
From the people.
Go ahead, TJ.
Sorry, man.
So would you suggest purchasing it on the way down then, little by little?
Yeah, ladder in. What from? Sorry to butt in,
ladder
Marius.
my purchases on the way down. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry to butt in, Marius, but there's a couple of people that I'm following on Twitter and YouTube, etc. That it almost makes me feel like they're whales, and they're not letting on. But they said that Bitcoin and the S&P 500 and the S&P 400, the S&P 500 and 240. So like Bitcoin's very close to it in a weird way. That they're leading the Dow Jones, yeah. So, and one of the things that they said a few months ago was that Bitcoin and the S&P would drop first, yeah, and then the Dow Jones will drop down to the 20K levels. Now, the scary thing that scares me the most is once it gets to the 20K levels. Now, that's the thing you've got to watch for with the Dow Jones is whether it holds or not, because if it holds, yeah, they're going to pump it to 40K. If it doesn't hold, then I think all the money's going to flow into Bitcoin. So it's a really weird situation, and the strangest thing is it all seems to be timed in with Brexit, and it's a hard one. It's a real hard one, but I would say, if you look at the S&P, like even tonight, the S&P 240, there's been things on Twitter saying if the S&P 240 and the S&P 500 breaks, hell's coming. And sure enough, it broke resistance. I'm following a couple of people, and it broke. And it's like, we're going down, and it's exactly what Marius has got charted here. It's going down to 21.
Well,
what do you mean by?
I'd like to add
broke resistance.
I'd like to add, if I may. This is word, if I may. If we're watching technical analysis a little bit here, there is something called 200-day moving average, and S&P 500 is way below it. It's the second time that it dropped below. So there's a great chance
way below the 200.
It's going to continue falling down based on technical analysis. Now, Dow Jones, I don't think it's below 200 yet.
It actually is on the daily.
Okay, so it is on the daily, fine. Yeah. Those are red flags on both indexes. And I definitely agree that the stock market position to fall. The only problem I have with it is right now with Bitcoin price is that it seems to follow stock market. It has not decoupled, which means it will be dragged down.
Yeah, okay, I'm just muting everybody here, so I just want to give you this idea what we see. Okay, first of all, you can forget about Elliott wave theory and all that kind of fancy stuff that you want to create to figure out where Bitcoin is going to go at the moment, or where the world stock markets are going to go. 2 months ago, we said that Elliott wave doesn't work anymore, and it's never ever worked. You can go back 2 months, even 3 months ago, Elliott wave doesn't work. What is working here is pure manipulation. And I tell you guys again, if we don't have divine intervention here, where the market is going to decouple, and remember, our algorithm is showing that. it shows you, and I'm going to tell you clearly that the world stock markets, in our opinion, is going to go down. This is what we see. But once it's down to the bottom, the world stock markets are going to turn up again, and we are going to see 40,000 Dow next year. The end of the world is not here, like everybody is posting on YouTube. What's going to happen is we see the market where Bitcoin breaks free from the world stock markets, and there must be an influx of money that comes into Bitcoin and an outflux of the Dow Jones. So I tell you guys now, we are going to see a massive change, but not so massive that you have to buy 10 cans of water and keep it in your house and 3 months of food. It's simple, just mathematics of the old system dying and the new system, Bitcoin, taking off. And that date, we believe, is here by the end of the month. So sorry that I muted it all. Just unmute yourself if you want to ask a question.
It's fine, Marius. Appreciate it. And yeah, no, it's good. Just everything that we're talking about and what you're doing is confirming everything with Cliff Eye long term. The thing that scares me is the hyperinflation in the end. The hyperinflation. That's the.
But see, TG, this is why every single guy on this call. Okay, we need to be smart here. Don't put all your money simply in crypto, but don't put any money in the Dow Jones. Put some money in crypto, put some money in gold, put it in silver. Yeah. Because those are the three asset classes that will outperform everything in the world and is resilient against inflation. Believe it or not, cryptocurrencies is resilient against inflation. That's what we see. The elite and the powers that be, they are fearful of gold, silver, and cryptos.
It's just hard when it's going down like that. Sorry, Shamsa. Go on, crack on.
Okay.
Thanks.
Marius, you've mentioned gold and silver, which I'm also very keen on. I know this is not about precious metals, but when do you sort of see them breaking out? Do you follow them at all?
Yeah, absolutely, Shamsa. As a matter of fact, if you look at gold now, and we may put some gold into our reports as well, we do follow it. As a matter of fact, we see our figure shows 985 for silver an ounce. And I don't like tweeting that out anymore because, yes, you get attacked. 985 seems like impossible, but it's going to happen. It's a matter of time. If you have a look, for example, and everybody here knows the Wall Street cheat sheet, okay? We've got disbelief there, optimism, belief, exactly the same. Everybody here probably knows the Wall Street cheat sheet came down. Look at that. We're supposed to break out there. And that is the point where gold actually jumps. So if you look at gold, gold has gone up now. Okay? Yeah. Gold has gone completely up. So should, despite manipulation, okay? They can just manipulate Bitcoin a lot easier. Because with $1 billion, which is a small amount of money for the elite, they can control Bitcoin day in and day out as much as they want. Okay, there's now a wallet that has bought $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in a very short period of time. I mean, $1 billion is nothing. I mean, you get billionaires that are worth $50 billion. It's nothing for them. But look at this now, where the market was supposed to go up. It's a pity we haven't got a gold chart here, but guys, you can see gold going up according to that Wall Street cheat sheet. Okay, but here, the market for cryptocurrencies went completely down. Or Bitcoin rather, well, all cryptos, where we should have been at about 8, 9, or 10,000, heading into 12,000. As a matter of fact, our data shows that we should be a lot higher than where we are now. But I still tell you guys now, in the next couple of weeks, we are going to decouple Bitcoin from the pathway of the Dow Jones. It's going to break free and go up, and so is gold, so is silver. I don't believe there's going to be we'll see a turn in price like we see in gold now. The thing is this, Shamsa, everybody in the world that go on YouTube, they are looking for a big event. We are looking for that event. But there is going to be no big event because the elite doesn't work like that. They're in control of it. If there's a big event, it will be war. There will never, ever be war while Donald Trump is president. And if Trump makes war, he won't bring the war to America. Okay? So that's why we don't believe there's going to be a big event. that will push. Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe the big event just happened. Bitcoin went down to where it's going at the moment.
Exactly. That is what I'm talking about, you know. That is kind of like an event. But what we are going to see, we're going to see a turnaround in Bitcoin where Bitcoin simply just goes gradually up, where the elite will try and bring it down again, and it's not going to work. Because think about this now. Momentum is a very big indicator that we look at. At the moment, momentum indicator is stopping and is kind of like starting to turn upwards. This is why I say that I don't believe that we're going to go to $3,000, because the momentum indicator is starting to change. Momentum is kind of like this. People are selling, then everybody sells, and the momentum brings the price down. Now what's happening is people are starting to buy. When the price drops, they buy. When the price drops, they buy. So big firms like Prasad Hara, which is a very good friend of mine who manages billions of dollars of cryptos, they will not spend $1 million or $2 or 100 million at 5.4 and allow the market to suddenly drop to 3,000, because then they lose a lot of money. Now the momentum in everything is starting to change, where people are starting to buy. So the momentum indicator now is slowly changing and pointing for the first time since last night, pointing upwards. We may have a slight drop to 3880 to develop that falling wedge. Once that wedge is done at 3880, we hope so, and we hope that we will see that momentum change going upwards. There's going to be no big event. It's going to be slightly upwards, and the momentum then will take the price upwards. But the momentum, this is very important, must take the world stock markets down. And I believe that momentum in the world stock markets will not come back, because they have tried now in this week to prop it up with about $32 billion. $32 billion since Tuesday was laundered over to the Swiss government. It's illegal to do it, but the government does that. And they try and hide it. And if you just do a bit of research, you can find it all over the internet. And that money, even that money, didn't work because the markets dropped. Look at that, you know, the world stock market.
I've heard they even use Ireland. Maris, I heard they even launder money through Ireland, and it's greater than the GDP of the whole of Ireland. And I mean, for God's sake.
Yeah, that is also another way, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, Marius, right? Just to butt in. I'm so sorry, guys, right, to sound negative about things, right? But I can tell you now, man, right? The government of this country in Britain is evil, right? They just completely want to strip everybody of their identity and shut their mouths up, and take the wealth from the middle class. What's going on with Brexit and all the rest of it is horrendous. Can I ask a question to all you guys? And I'll sit and listen to it all day long, but what do all you guys think of our Brexit deal?
Well, I don't know. Personally speaking, just from observing it from the outside, from I live in the United States. So yeah. To me, it sounded initially like people want to have say in it, and they really don't want to be dependent on the European Union. That Britain could stand on its own like it used to for centuries, and that's what I saw. And today, everything is integrated, so it's kind of hard to break free, apparently.
Right. So,
from what I heard, Theresa May sort of destroyed the Brexit deal.
Yes,
is there any truth to that?
Right, I'm going to give you a little bit of light on this. I don't know whether any of you have got any idea what's going on over here, but basically, my wife, my missus just bought me a cup of coffee, bless her. So, and she's just joining the convo. So, but the Brexit deal was really a 50-50 vote on about the staying in Europe and leaving Europe, yeah, and it was all sort of orchestrated by a political party called UKIP. And I'm sorry to be a little bit long-winded on this. I'll try and be as quick as I can. But we're supposed to be coming out of Europe because we won, because the people voted to come out of Europe. So we got control of our borders and control of our government and our money and to make things better all round. Yeah, we're now entering a deal where we now have, we still pay, I think, to a degree. We have no seat in the European Union, and Europe has control over. They can veto all of our decisions. So that means that we don't have a say in our land. Yeah, this is scary stuff. So we're going to have this deal, and we're not going to have any sovereignty whatsoever. And crossing the borders, it's really weird about this microchip stuff, because there's a big border issue with Ireland, and they don't want a hard border, they want a soft border, don't they? And the answer seems to be weird. This microchip thing coming out, and it's just sad. Really, I would sooner Britain come out of the euro and we pay higher tariffs on trade than stay in it. But she's signed a deal. She's pushing the deal that we're not going to have a voice whatsoever.
That's scary.
This is the elite. This is the elite. Britain is just one part of the jigsaw.
Yeah. And the thing is the sad thing is, and this is why I say to you guys, I really hope decentralized exchanges knock the shit out the bankers. And I hope it's powered by the people and not the bankers, because atomic swaps is going to be the answer in the end to take the power away from it, because at the moment, the banksters are manipulating everything. And I don't want to see everyone chipped up and can't even move, and all their wealth.
It is terrifying, but I'm actually very hopeful. I'm actually very hopeful for the future.
I hope to be. I mean, there's great.
Be positive.
Yeah, you gotta. Yeah,
you have to be.
But I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
How do you know where to put your money into the right place to protect your family and etc. for the future without getting caught out and losing money through their manipulation? It's really tough.
Yeah, but guys, look at this. Always stay positive. Have a strong mental mind, and don't let these things actually put fear in you. You were born without fear. Everything else that comes into your mind is just putting fear into your mind. I tell you now, there's a big change coming. We are going to witness this. Remember, we all here are the grandfathers of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. You have to expect to go through a war. Imagine the people that fought for America and won America. Okay, they were the grandfathers. But now the people after them have the benefits. We are going to win this war, plus we are going to have the benefits. It's going to come, and just don't let these things put fear into you.
If Bitcoin really goes down to a few $100s, I mean, that's just an opportunity. I have triple or 4 times the amount of coins, hopefully.
Buy as much as you can if it went down that low. And Marius, well said, Marius. That was.
So, what is the realistic price target, Marius, in, let's say, next few days? Let's say this weekend. Normally, what I've noticed, that price of Bitcoin drops on weekends. What are we expecting going into next?
Yeah, we expect Bitcoin over this weekend to hit about 3880 or 3850. You can see very clearly on this chart that I have in front of my screen. Can you see the circles of the mouse?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Now, we didn't draw this in just afterwards. We actually drew this about 4 days ago, or 4 days ago probably, where we said that's going to be an ABC correction and we're going to come down to a falling wedge. A falling wedge is a bullish indicator. Normally what happens is the market comes down to the point and it breaks out. Now, this red line here, I forgot to tell you guys, let me just make that green. Or maybe a dark blue. That dark blue line there is the algorithm stop point, where you'll see where it normally stops. That is our point. What happens is the market comes down as like a sewing effect, like a seam. It goes through it. See how it's gone through it? And it seems that. That's a very, very great indicator on the algorithm line, the stop point. What we expect the market to do is to come perhaps a little bit down there, and then it's going to break out and go upwards. It's going to do something like that. And it's going to, my end of the year target, unfortunately, is not really high. But let's say by December, my end of December is probably around about $7,000. So it's not high. I know there's a lot of people that say 10 and 12,000 by the end of the year. I'll be surprised if it happens. There's just not enough time from now till the end of the year to do it, with the problems that we are going to have in the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones needs to drop further, and Bitcoin needs to break free. And look at this. At this point here, somewhere here in that time frame, Bitcoin is going to move up and the stock market is going to move downwards. So again, we expect the market to go down there and then shoot upwards there. A falling wedge is a
so this is next week
indicator. Yeah.
It's next week. Yes, it's bullish indicator, absolutely. Again, my only concern, if stock market continues dropping, which I expect it to do, that the Bitcoin will follow it and not disengage. That is my only concern. And
yeah.
We could be buying on the way down, which is fine. It just
yeah, but have you ever seen a falling wedge break out to the downwards in Bitcoin? Because we had a
no, usually on the up.
Over the last 2 years, we could only find it twice. And
yeah, it has to break out. I totally agree.
23 times it broke upwards, 2 times it broke downwards, but not very far. Every single time where it broke downwards, it went like this and then went up. And 23 times it broke completely. When it gets to this, it just breaks upwards. So that's why we are betting on the positive side. But we do have the fact that the world stock market is in play here as well.
Fun times. Do you have time for a puncture? I can leave it here for an hour, so it doesn't have to be done right now. Yeah.
So if the price turns around, and let's say somebody missed the entry at 3,800, would you recommend chasing it at that point to get in there?
No.
Let's say it dipped to 3,800 and bounced within half an hour, and then it shoots up to 5,000. What do we do?
Yeah. Look, don't chase the dollar. Never chase anything, because you're going to make mistakes. Okay? This is what I'm going to do. I'm waiting for the market to drop here to about 3,880. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take 10% of my cash. Now remember, of all the money that we manage, we are only working here with 5%. And that's a pretty small amount of money, really. You know? It's a big amount of money, but small as well. I'm just going to mute everybody quickly again. So what I'm going to do is to buy 10% of my money there. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait till the market hits that point there. See the $4,800 level there? You can actually go and put it on your same chart. When we hit that level again, I'm going to take another 10% of my money and spend it there.
Now, I don't know if you can see it, but it's clearly someone drew the...
Okay, let's just erase that quickly. Okay, so then what we're going to do is to, at the next level there, which is the $5,700 level, we're going to buy another 10% there. And what I'm going to do is to ladder in my buys as we go up. I don't mind to wait to buy above that level, which is $6,500. And maybe at that point there, I'm going to spend 20% of my leftover money. So I'm going to buy here at the bottom 10%. The reason is that I'm only going to buy 10% here is because if the market drops further and it drops down to, let's say, that level of $3,000 or $2,000, I've still got 90% of my money left over to buy in on the low. So you don't want to spend more than 10% of your money, and you have to ladder in your buys as you go upward. Don't try and time the drop. Not many people will get that correct. If you do, you're just really lucky. So just unmute yourself if you want to talk.
Of course, but would you do the same on the way down?
No, not at all. If I spend 10% now, because come Sunday in America, or as soon as the market drops to 3880, I'm going to spend 10% of the money. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to wait. If the market then drops, I'm not going to buy. Because then I need to see another confirmation of the end of the drop. Something similar like what we see here, a falling wedge. Because something that indicates that we get down to the bottom. Because the market can drop there where my mouse is now. If we have another drop, I mean, you don't buy there because the market drops. You don't buy there because the market drops. You wait for the consolidation, and you can potentially wait till you see that uptrend on the 4-hour chart where it does a double, a red and a green line. But for me, I like to see that pattern, the falling wedge. It comes right at the end. And you can see there, it's actually breaking. That green line there is actually now breaking that blue line trend. Let me just look at that now. You can see that it's actually moving up. But try to break it. It may come down one more time. I wouldn't even buy that. Patience, just sit and wait. Look, what does it matter today? Think about this now. Whether you buy Bitcoin at $4,500 or $6,000, it doesn't matter. So the big amount of my money for my risky model portfolio, I'm just going to wait till the market goes back to 6,000. Now I know there's a confirmed uptrend, or we'll see what happens in the world stock markets, and then I'll get back in because I want to make profit in my portfolio. That's my risky portfolio. Keep in mind, guys, that 95% of all the money we manage and all the cryptos are still in Bitfee wallets, 16 Bitfee wallets. Still lie there. We don't even care about selling them. Litecoin is the other thing. Let me just get that Litecoin chart here. I had it earlier. Look at this Litecoin chart. This thing has come down fractal by fractal by fractal by fractal by fractal. Could it be that we can have another low? Yeah, possibly. But look at this where we are. And I'm going to show you this quickly that we had a look on Litecoin as well as EOS. Look at that. Exactly that same point there. We're right there at the bottom now. That is big support. Now, let's quickly have a look at EOS. EOS and Litecoin are the two that we like to follow because it gives us an indication of where Bitcoin could potentially go. There's another support on EOS and another support on EOS. 171 top of the top 320 cryptocurrencies, 171 of them are showing enormous support. So that tells me that we are going to head upwards. There's a turnaround coming. Okay, go ahead if there's any other questions.
Maria, this is Kathy here in Arizona. I wanted to ask you about DigiByte. Do you think it will just continue to follow Bitcoin, the DigiByte?
Yes, DigiByte for now will follow Bitcoin. But in the same way how Bitcoin could potentially break away from the world stock markets or the Dow Jones, DigiByte is going to break away as well. Where Bitcoin could potentially go up 5 times, we see DigiByte going up about 8.5 times. So it must break away to have that increase. Other coins that will break away is Cardano. We look at XLM, ZRX, and of course, as you said, DigiByte. And Litecoin is the other one that we see will break away as well.
What about Ethereum Classic, Mario?
There's too little data on
Ethereum
Classic to give us an indication what it is going to do in the future. But if you look at Ethereum Classic from a subjective perspective, in my opinion, it's one of the best buying opportunities as well. There are multiple great opportunities because everything has come down. But don't be surprised if Ethereum Classic just stands still at the moment and don't move too fast. Other cryptos will move a lot faster, like XLM, ZRX, Digibyte. I would consider buying Ethereum Classic once it gets back to about 7.4, 7.8. You first want to see Ethereum Classic making a move upwards. I can't remember what the price on Ethereum Classic is now.
It's
I
a
think it's
little
about
over
$5.
Yeah, I mean, you can throw a small amount of money in that. I wouldn't put all my money in that, but it's a good one to have. Just that's low. I didn't realize about 5.
The interesting thing about Ethereum Classic is that Grayscale Investments, which I follow a lot of the bigger investments, and their second biggest holding is Ethereum Classic behind Bitcoin, and it's substantial. So there's something up with Ethereum Classic. I don't know what it is, but there's something up with it.
Absolutely.
Can I add to a little bit of this? And I know this is a sidetrack. Sorry, guys. About a week ago, Chicago announced that they want to tax the gamers. Yeah. And I think it's funny that Theta Token is launching their mainnet and they're doing really well. And actually, right now, Theta Token is rebounding. And if you look at the chart, it's Ving right now. And I just think it's weird with the way that the elite have got things planned for the future, how they want everybody to be cooped up in boxes, earning money out of playing computer games for the kids, that they want to tax the gamers. And it's funny that at the moment, Theta Token is still powered on Ethereum. And we also know that Ethereum Classic is going to be the more advanced smart contracts Ethereum-based platform. So maybe that's why Ethereum Classic is going to be a good one, because it's more efficient than Ethereum. Just chucking that out there. Sorry, guys.
Marius, what do you think about Ethereum? Would it be a good time to buy once Bitcoin starts going up again?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point. But Ethereum is still one of the bigger and better coins to buy. It makes a big chunk of our portfolio. But remember, this is what we are talking about, Ethereum Classic now. Now, what is Ethereum now? I don't know what the price is. Let's say, I don't know, $180 or whatever. Or let's make it easy. Let's say if Ethereum is at 200, from 200 it will go to 400, and then from 400 to 800. Ethereum Classic, it's very easy for Ethereum Classic to go to $100 in that same period. If Ethereum reaches 800, Ethereum Classic could be 100. Now look at that. If it's now at 6, it will go to 12, to 24, to 48, to to 100. So that's a lot easier in the same time frame. So don't disregard Ethereum Classic. Have a little bit of all these kind of things, but create yourself a portfolio of about 15, maximum probably 20 cryptos. I don't trade more than that. And I don't care about all these little other cryptos, guys. Like my wife actually bought Electronium and she was happy at my 23% gain. I don't care about those kind of things, because you can't time those things. You always hear that these little cryptos went up 80% and then it's too late to get in. And then you try and buy it and then you lose. It's not what I do. Although Wendy somehow, yes, she makes a lot of money out of these things. If that is what you do and you trade those little cryptos, you can specialize in it and make money. That's fine. But I'm here about looking longer term, protecting my wealth, because I'm over the point. I've made enough money. For me, it's about wealth preservation. I don't want to lose a dollar. So I'm sticking with larger coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. I could get into Ethereum Classic. I do own a few of them. Digibyte, yes, you can take chances on those things. It's because everybody is talking about Digibyte. Everybody's talking about Ethereum Classic. You read about it, there's movement there. It's not a dead coin that you don't hear anything about. So whatever you do, just be very careful, But no doubt, Ethereum is a great, great investment. If you want to preserve your capital, that's a good way of putting it in as soon as the market starts turning upwards. And I just want to say one point about Litecoin. I tell you guys now, this is going to happen. Litecoin at one stage I don't know when, but Litecoin, with all these fractals that is done, our algorithm data is showing somewhere a spike that's going to go like this. And that spike is going to be over a very, very short period of time, and it shows about 6 to 7 days. Don't be surprised if this thing goes to $1,000 over 6 days. Not in 6 days, but over a period somewhere here, just shoots up vertically, and bang, it's $1,000. People are going to go the first day, it will go up maybe to like $100, and people will say, whoa, I made a lot of money, I'm going to sell. The next day it goes up another $100. The third day it goes up $400, and bang, day 6, 7, it's $1,000 or more. So just keep in mind, and this is one of the reasons I keep on saying it, you need to keep your Litecoin. Don't sell it, because remember, it's an investment for you. I've said it this morning on the earlier conference call. With $8,000, $8,000, guys, is nothing. You can buy
Marius, question.
200 Litecoins. When Litecoin goes to $4,500, you're an instant millionaire. Yeah, go ahead with the question.
Yes. So if you had, let's say, I don't know, let's say $10,000 today to invest, and you're looking at Bitcoin at current price, you could get let's say 2.5 Bitcoins. Where Litecoin, you can probably get over 200, I think. Let's say 250, based on $32. And I recently made the purchase on Litecoin. But if you're working with X amount of dollars, let's say 10K, and in your opinion, which would be a better investment then? Litecoin as accumulating over 200 units, or a Bitcoin getting only 2.5 right now?
I would definitely buy Litecoin. It's not even a question.
Okay.
Because remember, okay, but I must clarify this. This is making the assumption that you have $10,000 extra to spend in your current portfolio. In my case, I still own a few Bitcoin. I'm not just going to take $10,000 today and just buy Litecoin. I won't do that. But you must have a percentage of your portfolio in Litecoin. All I'm saying now is you can take $8,000, which is not a lot of money, and you can simply go and buy about 250 Litecoins. I mean, this is crazy. Imagine when Litecoin was $300 a Litecoin. You now have the option to buy.
Oh, I remember. Yes, I remember really well, and I remember it shooting up to over 400 at one point. It was a quick.
Yeah, I tell you guys now, everybody on this call, you have the opportunity to become a multi-millionaire.
Marius. Right, guys, this is to everybody. And before I start this is going to be, sorry to butt in again, and be a little bit long-winded. I'd like to tell everybody what I hold. Would you like to know what I hold? And I'd like to know your opinions of what I hold. Would people like to know that?
Yes, please go ahead. Tell us.
Right. Okay. I own 1 Bitcoin, about 5 Ethereum, about 30 Ethereum Classic, nearly 100 Litecoin, 17,000 Ripple, 88,000 Digibyte, 18,000 Theta token, 35,000 Redcoin. There are some things that I can't remember all of them right now, but there's more. But I'm quite often a little bit concerned that I haven't got enough Bitcoin. But at the same time, it's a hard call, because you know that some of the altcoins long term are going to X more than Bitcoin to your holdings. So at least in a weird way, if you manage to catch and time it right, you can shift your wealth from one coin to another and move it to gold or silver and vice versa, or whatever you do. That's my thinking. I'm not experienced in this, but you're trying to play it. You're trying to play it right, but it is hard. And I think the most important thing is buying the dip, buying as low as you can, and holding and being patient, like what Marius says. But yeah.
Well,
So,
I'd like to add to this, if I may. You have good points. Which you can also do. You could exchange later your other altcoins into Bitcoin if you're concerned that you don't have enough. Essentially, your other holdings you could exchange them in. So if they go up, you could get Bitcoin. Hopefully, Bitcoin doesn't run away too quickly either.
TJ, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, TJ, it's Roger here. I saw the numbers there, but I'm not sure what the weights are. I mean, it might make more sense to look at it in terms of the percentage of your portfolio allocation. But I like your idea that it looks like you don't have a boatload there, like some of these people I see on Twitter. But yeah, I mean, one person said hold one Bitcoin and then start looking at the others. So I'm not sure what the value is in the Theta and the red coin, but to me, if you don't have a lot of money, those riskier, like I would call them penny stocks, I would just use like a really 5% of your portfolio as opposed to, 10, 20, 30%, right?
Right, okay. I'm going to throw a right spanner in the works here, right? And this is what concerns me, because I really would like to throw a few leads out there for people to follow and give consensus of what people's thoughts are, these other people that I follow in the future. But I honestly believe Digibyte is going to go to $12 in about 4 years' time. I honestly believe that Theta token, I don't know what's going to happen with EOS, because it's funny that EOS has launched a gaming part of their thing to go in competition with Theta, but I do believe Theta in 5 years' time will be $1,000. Right now, with regards to what we're all talking about right now and how the way the stocks are going to roll and everything else, I think the elite intend to hyperinflate the whole world. They intend to get everybody. They intend to digitize everybody. And then they're going to create hyperinflation and take the wealth away from everybody. Now, the thing is, I saw one little post over the last few days where it went $1 million turns into $10,000 due to hyperinflation. So I've got 18,000 Theta tokens right now. Now, if Theta token goes to $1,000 in 5 years' time, that's 18 mil. But what is 18 mil any good to me at a $10,000 value? It's not. I actually need over 100,000 Theta tokens to help me and my family. Can you understand what I'm saying? Because the thing is, if they pump the Dow Jones to 40,000, the whole world's hyperinflated, like ridiculously. And it all dumps into cryptocurrency, like what Marius was talking about half an hour ago. So it's a hard one. In a way, you actually need to buy more penny stocks to secure the long-term future against Bitcoin. But it's a hard one, and you've got to know that you're buying the right asset.
You need to diversify. Once you make your money, diversify into other things.
Yeah, that's exactly it, guys. What Roger also said there, diversify. And I've been saying this all the time. Put some of your money in cryptocurrencies, the majority, maybe 60%. This is how I work. 60% of my cash, well, I keep cash, but I keep 60% in cryptos. 40% are split between more silver and then gold. So it's very important. I just want to bring your attention here, guys, to this video that we did on 16 September 2018. This is the one where we worked with the Apple algorithm. Now, if we are correct in regards to the Apple algorithm, now remember the market did something like this. I can't remember exactly what. And then here at some point it dropped and then dropped again. We believe that that drop there is the support line, which is 3880, and then we believe the market is going to go upwards. So when you have time, please go and have a look at that video. This one is actually on our YouTube channel. Okay, so you can actually find that it says December Bitcoin spike coming. And in this, we actually give you an idea of what the Apple algorithm is going to do as well. So I'll just leave this on the screen while we just ask questions and go ahead. And yeah, let's go ahead with questions. Just unmute yourself.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Marius.
Sure, go ahead.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Listen, you don't use your marius.lamon@yahoo.com email address, do you? Like, what email address do you use?
No, I use the email address marius.landman@yahoo.com. What are you referring to? But for what?
No, I emailed you 6 days ago, and then I also emailed you on September 29th. I don't think you got my emails.
From who? Is that from John?
Well, the subject line is the last one was like 5 topics, including the time zone. And the last topic was, please add me to the new Telegram group. But it's like 5 topics. Your timestamp in Brisbane should have been Sunday morning at 8:46 a.m. So you don't have to look at this second, but I don't think I'm getting through. I sent you an email also at the end of September asking you about Litecoin on October 13th when Gemini opened up, and you never. I don't think you got that one either. But that's here. That's
John.
Already gone.
What is your last name? I'll quickly do a search.
I'd rather not say it online.
Okay, but just send me an email now, and I'll see if it comes out on the top of my
okay,
emails.
I'll mute myself and I'll send you an email. I'll just say test email from John. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'll mute myself and the next person can go.
Can I just say thank you to everybody for the community and all the questions and the love and cooperation, and thank you, Marius. So that's what I want to say. Thanks, guys.